Hello, fellow coders. In this video, we are going to explore an idea generation process, but more importantly, evaluation process using large language models. So this may seem easy on the outset, but is actually a complex problem. We will spell out a LLM, in this case, GPT-4 to generate ideas with using a complex system message using JSON mode, both JSON mode and structured outputs. We'll talk about why structured outputs in this case is much, much better. And both the generation of ideas and evaluation is a difficult problem on its own because here we are generating ideas for LLM apps. But the issue or the difficulty is that LLMs tend to converge on general ideas. Maybe one might call them the J. So it's difficult to get them out of that mode. And when you try to get them out of that mode, then they have a tendency to go esoteric, like quantum or ethical or ecological, for example. So it's quite a task. And the review process itself is also a task. Here, this is our evaluation structure. So let's just take a look we're going to review the code, by the way, but let's just take a look at the idea. So we are generating a title, a description. This is actually going off of this. Create LLM application ideas for a variety of tasks. So in essence, the idea is that we should be able to input something so simple as such and generate many ideas that are distinct, unique, novel. So this is the idea generation process. And here is the review process. I went a bit inspired by how humans might be approaching a situation like this. And we say they're getting ideas based on some evaluation metric or fail metric. By the way, this code files, both the JSON and structured file, will be available in my Patreon. Link will be in the description, but we'll be reviewing the code shortly, nevertheless. So let's begin with the JSON mode. I call this ideation LLM alchemies, but I might change it by the time I publish this video. But let's generate ideas and evaluate them properly so that we can have some kind of evaluation metric, even some kind of review, which we can then pass back into the LLM to generate better ideas, which we're not doing in this case. But so what of the idea we'll do? So there's three difficulties. One, the genericness of the ideas. So we have to overcome that. We have to overcome the esotericism of ideas and also the variety of ideas. So let's tackle the variety of ideas first. If we just ask a large language model just to generate ideas, then it'll have a tendency to repeat itself and it kind of circles around similar topics. So here, we are then using a list of valuable LLM use cases, such as automated contract analysis, risk assessment in legal firms, and real-time financial market sentiment analysis. Predictive maintenance, other business use cases, personal use cases like nutrition, meal planning, writing coach, customized travel itinerary, the idea in local community engagement, personalized education, automated grant proposal. So even these may seem general, but these are the ones we have. Feel free to generate new ones. But the trick really happens with the system message. Here's our function to generate ideas. You can pass in however many ideas you want to generate. Since we are using JSON mode, as you can see, we are giving it a JSON format along with our instructions. For continuing, I do want to say JSON mode with complex JSON structure will fail and you won't be able to parse it because it'll skip a key, for example, or not, maybe miswrite a key. That's why when I release the structured outputs, which guarantees the actual schema that you're looking for. So we'll first review the JSON mark because it'll be more understandable than we'll look at the structure, which is exactly the same thing, but with structured outputs. Okay, so we shall review the system message. We're saying you're an innovative idea generator for LLM applications, focusing on unique business solutions that are practical for everyday use. Your goal is to generate ideas that are novel, impactful, not commonly seen in the current market. Use this valuable LLM use case as inspiration, but do not directly copy it. So this is where we can insert a random selection of one of these use cases, which are many. And that we provide guidelines focused on business-oriented solutions that can be used directly, daily in professional settings. Avoid common applications like chatbots, content generators, simple task managers. So this was important, at least give it some examples of what to avoid. Combining LLMs with other technologies or business processes in unexpected ways. It also, so you can become creative, imagining what, the crossroads of different technologies or businesses might be. Now, before continuing, I would like to mention that if you are enjoying my content, you can find all my videos here in easily searchable search bar at my website, ecolive.live. And if you're a patron or considering becoming a patron, here you can find all the project download links. So just search for what you're looking for and find something you would like to download. It'll get you on. This is for pavement, of course. So let's get back to the code. Fourth criteria is considering each industry's and one of business processes. Aim for ideas that significantly can improve efficiency decision-making. Ensure solutions are practical, can be integrated into existing businesses. Think about how ideas can bring competitive edge. Each idea should be innovative, practical for daily business use, and have potential to transform how companies operate or make decisions. And provide the response in the following JSON format. The title, innovative business solution title, description, innovation factor, explain what makes this idea innovative, business impact, competitive advantage, or feasibility. Okay, it's going to be a JSON object. And here we are inserting a user message, generate this many number of ideas, which we are passing into the function. Unique business-oriented ideas for LLM applications that are not commonly seen in the market. Focus on practical solutions that can be used daily in professional settings. So I actually iterated with Claude quite a lot for this. I mean, you can sit down and write it detail yourself, but it's just that it's very difficult to overcome the stubbornness of LLM's kind of version on certain things which you want to avoid, and asking Claude to actually overcome them sometimes helps along with manual manipulation. The reason, just load the JSON. We select the use case that are output, and now we dump those ideas. Now that's it. So here's the review process. This was also really difficult. The problem with the review process was that LLMs usually tend to have an optimistic outlook, a positive outlook, and it just tends to pass a lot of stuff. And I just didn't want to tell it to just be critical, but I want to give it some actual baselines which it can use to become critical with, rather than just saying, be critical, So let's take a look at how we did this. You're an experienced entrepreneur. So I want to give you the impression that, okay, you've already done this type of stuff. Like you're an entrepreneur, and I'm invested with a track record of identifying where baking ideas. So as of seeing, a Shark Tank or something like that. So instead of saying, be like this or be critical, I'm just trying to give it the grounding or it to be like that, hoping for a better result. And I believe we got it. Our task is to evaluate given concepts to a naturalistic decision-making process. So naturalistic is the key here. Initial impression, provide a quick instinctive reaction to each idea. So I am assuming that humans, have that reactions to certain things, intuitive reactions. So I want to combine a reasonably rigorous reasoning process along with some checks and intuitive inspirations, so to speak. Again, I'd like to interrupt right here before we move on to the other points and point out that if you do become a patron, you will also get access to all my courses. Most importantly, 1000x Dev Masterclass. As you can see, I am coding in Cursor IDE, and this is just the best way to code. If you're not using it, I would highly recommend you take a look at it. And my 1000x Masterclass course is entirely centered around first, in which I actually teach how I use Cursor to build projects like these that consists of 17 live coding videos, built from start to finish. Each one includes a video and the full project files, such as Swarm Intelligence, Next.js projects, Market Research, Archive Rec Researcher, or How to Build an AI Scientist, which was my latest video before this one. So I haven't recommended if you're serious, but you can, you're learning to use Cursor best you can. Okay, let's get back to this. The initial impressions, which is an instinctive reaction. And if you want to provide a mental simulation, imagine how the idea might play out in the real world. Recognition, private decision. Well, when your past experiences to identify patterns and similarities with previous successes and emotional responses. As you can see, the first one is instinctive. The next two is rather more reasoning and logic oriented. The fourth one is, again, back to gut instinct style, emotional response. Pay attention to your gut feeling about each other. Is there excitement? Skip to some more indifference, for example. So normally, we would do this by saying, here, review it, and review your review, be critical, make a plan, and review the plan. So we are essentially doing something like that, but in a unique, try to do it in a unique and interesting way. More so, a cognitive bias check. The area of potential bias, like availability, heuristics, and confirmation bias that might influence your judgment. So here's a critical point. Somatic marker. Note in the physiological responses and clear psychic attention as you evaluate each idea. Obviously, this is silly because LLMs don't have any of that, but they could possibly simulate it, right? Satisficing. Determine if the idea is good enough to pursue further rather than seeking perfection. A decision. Make a choice about whether to pursue the idea further or pass it on. And provide your evaluation in this JSON format until decision. Plus, it provides a confidence level. And then we do the same, return it, like passing the user a message. Evaluate these ideas using natural decision-making processes. And here, simulate the decision fatigue and time pressure. Well, actually, this was inserted here. We don't need that. I'll just comment it out. But okay, I guess this was appropriate. But anyway, so we get, actually, I remove this entirely. Well, what? Let's leave it in that. Maybe it'll give you an idea. So it tries to perform some fatigue simulation with this is not really relevant. And let me save their idea reviews. Here's the evaluate idea. Evaluate if the idea meets threshold. So here we get the final verdict. So this is pretty hard check, which can be actually, we prove further, but here, this is the most important one. You check with confidence over 80 and we grab it and it's checking for some certain X criteria, such as if clear path to profitability is in it, impossibly legal, unethical, if is in the execution challenges are unrealistic, is not in team requirements. Although I think I have removed the team requirements, although there shouldn't cause a problem. I suppose we can just delete that. And then returns to meets threshold. Then next one is format ideas. So this is just going to take their ideas, which are generated, and is just going to go in to the JSON file and format it, especially to actually print it. Different colors, like for example, if I just were to run it, you can see what I mean. First, print the use case, AI writing coach for aspiring authors, providing style and plot suggestions. This is JSON mode can fail with this complex schema, but let's see what happens. Okay, say we ran into an error. Proposed through market analysis, just had a market key error. If we were to run this several times, it will work, but let's go back to structured with choose guarantees the output so we can better see. And while we are waiting on this, I will mention that I am actually running a hackathon currently. It is for Architect Plus patrons, but the prices are, first place gets 1 hour one-on-one meeting with $350 value. Second and third place gets $75. Top 5 projects will be demoed during the YouTube evaluation live stream, and owners' GitHub repos will be mentioned. Your evaluation will be done by a panel of 9 AI judges. So check that out if you're interested. Let's come back here. So this is the print statement. Generated idea plus the initial impression, for example. It said potential game changer. mental stimulation. The tool could be integrated into existing systems. This is AI driven compliance audit system. There's a use case was AI powered negotiation assistant for complex business deals. Here are the pattern recognition set similar to past AI tools. So that's not good. Emotional response, excited about factual proficiency, bias check, ahoid, and Craig on past AI tool success considers specific regulatory challenges. Satisfaction threshold just says pursue the confidence rating of 85. But if you scroll down, like this one only has 65%. Then it's their interest, for example. Some tension. It says that it decided that it satisfies, but because the confidence threshold is lower, it didn't meet the threshold, so we did not save it into rating ideas. Okay. Which is the only one that passed was the first one, Scenarific, I believe. As you can see, the rest of them is threshold is not. But anyway, this colorful printing and the separation of the structured output is performed by this format ideas. We grab each and every one of them and printed with a specific color. So that's what the format ideas is doing right here. Okay. And the GPT-4 generated idea between few. We generated an idea. And if the idea is returned, we review the idea and we format the ideas. Idea means threshold. We here check based on evaluate idea criterias right here. So it's checking for some, this, for example, this text may not appear in final verdict, for example, but this should give you some ideas on creating some more complex evaluation metrics. So we should have mentioned in the system message should have mentioned these or not, right? Maybe given exact phrases to mention, for example, but maybe the list passes this and it looks for each and every one, sums it up. And here we say, out of number ideas, made the threshold for further consideration. And return formatted ideas plus the summary. And we input our API key and just run the entire thing. So in the JSON mode example, we see we're giving these structures as a JSON object, but in the structured output, we have the same LLM use cases, but we are actually defining them as classes. These are exactly the same things. The idea class is a title, description, innovation factor with these descriptions. Idea response is going to be a list. Selected use case is going to be a string. Review is going to be defined like this. So it is better, maybe easier to create a JSON mode. And then I ask Claude to actually convert to scripture. You can try to build it yourselves, of course, and you should try that. But if you want to gain access to this, it is available in my Patreon, like we said, and will be in the description. So the differences are, so everything else remains the same, but the difference is we are using the latest structured output compatible GPT-4o model, and we are not passing in any JSON object here. We're not passing in all the instructions because we're going to pass their identical object as a response format rather than the type JSON object. And this idea's response is actually idea's response includes the idea list, right? Was the selected use case. And the same is true for the review ideas again. But this one takes into review response by that model, which is the review response, which returns a list of reviews, and each review is specified like this. So that's it. The rest of it is pretty much the same here, but we use a better evaluate idea function. Here we check if the review decision is pursue and if the review confidence is about 80 and if the satisfy threshold is yes. So if you look at the Pydantic model for that, we say, for example, satisfy threshold can only be yes or no. And the decision can be on the pursue or pass. And the confidence can be an integer of 0 to 100. So this is a much better, actually, evaluation function. Format ideas does exactly the same thing, and the rest of it is the same. Okay, so this is how it works. I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, both files will be available in my Patreon. And if you wanted to speak with me, or if you ever projects you're working on which you need help with, I have one-on-one meeting. Healers have my Patreon, with which I provide consultations. Check theirs out as well. But with my architect and above level patrons, we also have weekly AMA and live coding meetings. Next one's going to be this Sunday on the 25th, 12 p.m. Los Angeles time. So the link for that will be in the description as well. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I would like to take a moment to talk about the benefits of becoming a patron. As some of you may know, in the last year and a half, I've spent 3,000 hours, over 300 projects. As a patron, you will have access to all the code files so you can get inspiration right away quickly. Another benefit is that you'll have access to all my courses. And the recent and most proud one, the 1000x Masterclass, teaching what I've learned on how to code fast and efficiently. Also the Straight-Lit course and the Fast API course. In my Patreon, I also have tiers in which you can connect with me one-on-one. Check those out as well.